Okay, giving all praise to the Most High and His Son, Jesus the Christ. We're going to go over a topic today, Lord's will. All of us can get something from it. And I plan to teach tomorrow if it be the Lord's will as well. All right, so make sure you're taking notes and make sure you're considering yourself. We'll go over a little bit of prophecy, just a little bit, but we're really going to dive into, things that plague us on the day-to-day. But today's title, shouts out to my son, man. I'm proud of him, man. Before I came here, he was trying to get into scripts, bro. You know, he was like, Daddy, we need to go over the commandments again. I like that Bible thing we was doing. It's like, shout out to MJ, my son right there. It's good stuff, man. All praise to the Father. So today's title is Satan is real, but so is God. All right, Satan is real, but so is God. All right, coming from the Christian church, they put that fear of Satan in you, or the devil. They put that fear heavy on you. I know I was scared coming out to Christian church. But one thing the Christian church ain't never teach was the right thing to do. You understand what I'm saying? They would talk about Satan, they would talk about hell, all of that, but you didn't know what basis you would go to hell off of. You would just say, hey, what you're doing is bad, don't be sinning, but you never knew what sin was. All right, actually, as a matter of fact, give me that real quick. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4. That ain't the way we're going today. But I want to get that for those who may be tuning in for the first time. All right, give me that 1 John 3, 4. Read that.
The book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 4.
Let's go.
Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law.
Come on.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
You see that? It says, for sin is the transgression of the law. So if you want to know what you're guilty of and what you're doing is wrong, you got to do what? You got to study the Bible. Okay, and most importantly, you got to make sure that you're living in accordance with God's commandments, His laws, and His statutes, all right? But like I said, today's topic is Satan is real, but God is too. Oh, I think I like that better. But God is too. I said so is God earlier. But God is too. So say, Satan is real, but God is too. I like that one better. It sounds good. It sounds better. All right, give me the book of Revelation chapter 20. We're going to start right there, all right? Revelation chapter 20, and give me verse 1. We're going to read down a little bit.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. Right,
it says, and laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. That old serpent was when? In the very beginning, when you read the book of Genesis, that serpent that beguiled the woman, Eve, all right, it's that same spirit all throughout the scriptures. Read it again from the top.
And I saw an angel come down.
Verse 2, my apologies, verse 2.
Verse 2.
Go ahead.
And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil.
That old serpent, which is the devil. Does anybody know what devil means? Just by show of hands. What is it? Call it out. Deceiver. Deceiver. Showing you what? It's that same spirit that the serpent had in the garden, all right? That old spirit, which is the devil, and who?
And Satan.
And Satan. Go ahead.
And bound him 1,000 years.
Right, so there's going to come a point in time where Satan, the deceiver, all right, is going to be bound for 1,000 years. That time has not come yet. This is a future prophecy, all right? Let's read on.
And cast him into the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
And shut him up. And set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
That he should deceive the nations no more. Come on.
Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season.
Verse 4.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them.
And judgment was given unto them. This is talking about who? Those who lived a life of abstinence. Give me that real quick in 2 Ezra 7. These are those who kept God's commandments, all right, who overcame sin while they were here. Verse 55, watch this.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 55.
Come on.
And that the faces of them which have used abstinence.
Abstinence is going into what? Abstaining. Abstaining from what? Abstaining from sin. All right, read that verse again.
And that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars.
Shall shine above the stars. Come on.
Whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness.
And jump up 2 verses. Give me verse 53.
Verse 53. And that there should be show a paradise.
A paradise. What is this talking about? It's talking about heaven. All right, go ahead.
whose fruit endureth forever. Wherein is security in medicine, since we shall not enter into it.
All right, drop that. Let's go back to Revelations 20 and verse 4. Watch this, y'all.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads,
Come on.
or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
They did what?
Lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
They lived and reigned with Messiah for 1,000 years. So these are the souls, the righteous souls, all right? Those who decided that they're going to live for Christ no matter what, whether it's life or whether it's death. I got a script for that too. Let's go to Sirach chapter 1 and give me verse 12. Give me 12 and 13. I came in here today. Brothers was just sitting behind the IT desk. They had no music going. Out the spirit. Out the spirit. So I'm going to show you what spirit you should have when you fear the Lord right here. Give me verse 13. This is not the point. Verse 13 is the point, but I want to read verse 12 first. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 12.
Come on.
The fear of the Lord maketh a merry heart.
Make it the what?
Merry heart.
A somber heart.
Merry heart.
Go ahead.
And giveth joy.
And does what?
Giveth joy.
When you fear the Lord, you're going to have a merry heart and you're going to be joyful. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you're going to do. Go ahead.
And gladness.
And gladness. You're going to be glad to be amongst the brothers and the sisters when you see each other. You ain't just going to be sitting there looking crazy, looking at the wall. All right, go ahead.
And a long life.
And a long life. And a long life. Come on.
Whoso feareth the Lord, it shall go well with him at the last.
Right. So when you fear the Lord, when you're keeping God's commandments because you fear God's judgments, it says it's going to go well with you at the last. Meaning what? When the end comes, the end of your life. Go ahead.
And he shall find favor in the day of his death.
And he shall do what?
Find favor in the day of his death.
Right. He shall find favor in the day of his death. Where did we just read that at? Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. All right, let's go back to that. Revelations chapter 20, verse 4, because it mentioned what? Those who were beheaded for Christ. Okay, but guess what? Because they feared the Lord, everything went well with them. So in the end, they found favor. Meaning what? They got to reign with Christ for the 1,000 years. Y'all with me on that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's read it again. Come on, y'all.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus.
Come on.
And for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads.
Come on.
Or in their hands.
And for them going through this is what they received. Come on.
And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again.
Right. The rest of the dead. Who's this going into, brothers? The rest of the dead. By a show of hands. What's that going into? Officer Sampson, we need a microphone. You got one? All right.
Shalom, Cap. This is going into the ones that didn't keep the God laws.
There you go. This is going into some of our wicked family members. This is going into some of the brothers and sisters we see in the day-to-day that's not going to get caught up in the chariots and made a public example out of. All right, say the rest of the dead, read verse 5 again.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
This is the first resurrection, meaning what? When the saints, those who overcame the flesh, those who overcame sin, when they're caught up in the first resurrection, the rest of the dead, they're going to remain asleep for that time being. They're not going to reign with Christ for those 1,000 years. They're going to be awakened in what? In the second death, and they're going to receive their judgment. Give me Amos 9 and 10 real quick. Okay. Give me Amos chapter 9, verse 10. A brother asked that question yesterday at camp. What happens to everybody else? All right, this is what happens to everybody else right here. Amos chapter 9, verse 10.
The book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
You see that thing right there? Read it again.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
All the sinners are going to die by the sword. That's their lot. That's what's awaiting them. So what we kicking it off with fireworks. Obviously, what we want to make sure that when Satan gets bound, we want to make sure that We is reigning. Okay? Because if Satan bound and you not reigning, that means what? You part of the second death, which you don't want to have no part in. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 10. All right. Today's topic, I switched it up. Let me see if I remember. It is Satan is real, but God is too. Satan is real, but God is too. Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. Come on.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation.
It says, now is come salvation to who? To the righteous. All right, who overcame and were abstained from sin. Go ahead.
And strength, and the kingdom of our God.
Come on.
And the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Now, check this out. Remember what we just read? It said that Satan will be bound 1,000 years. Now it says the accuser of our brethren is cast down. Hey, who's the one accusing us on the day-to-day? Who is that? What nation of people would that be? That'd be Edom or Esau, present-day Caucasians, United States of America. Read that verse again.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Come on.
Which accused them before our God day and night.
Day and night. When you read the book of Psalms 50, they thought that everything was good. All right? They thought that everything was sweet because God hasn't cast the judgment just yet. All right? That's them accusing us day and night, saying we are the evil of the earth when it's really them. Okay? We're the righteous seed on the earth. They're the counterfeits. They want to be us. Go ahead.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
And we will overcome him by what?
The blood of the Lamb.
The blood of the Lamb. Who's the him? Give me verse 9.
Verse 9.
Come on.
And the great dragon was cast out.
Uh-huh.
That old serpent called the devil.
Called the devil. Go ahead.
And Satan.
And Satan. Read.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Which deceiveth the whole world. So we're showing what? Multiple precepts is indicating to it's actually a particular nation that's doing this. Read.
He was cast out into the earth.
He was cast out into the earth. Read.
And his angels was cast out with him.
Right, and his angels is cast out with him. Angels is another word for messenger. Okay, think about it? Who's the mouthpiece for Satan? That would be your friendly neighborhood white man. Right there. Give me the one. We coming right back to this. Don't miss the point. Don't miss the point. Give me Revelations 13 and verse 2. My apologies.
Verse 2.
Come on.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Right. So it says this particular beast, which is going into the United States of America, it says that this beast would encompass characteristics from prior kingdoms before him. The leopard is going into Greece. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
And his feet.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
The bear is going into the Persians in the Mede Empire. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
And that's going into ancient Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so it says America would encompass all of these attributes or characteristics as these other nations that came before. Go ahead.
And the dragon gave him his power.
And the what?
And the dragon gave him his power.
That's the key right there. The dragon is who? Satan, the devil. But it gave this particular beast his power. And he did what? He carried his message or his mission out on the earth by doing what? Deceiving the nations. All right, drop that. Go back to where you was at. Revelations chapter 12 and give me verse 9 and jump down to 11.
The book of Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9.
Come on.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. And his angels was cast out with him.
And his angels, his messengers, the so-called white man, when Satan gets cast out, they're going to get cast out with him. Give me verse 11.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
And the only way we can overcome this devil, Satan, is by what? Through the strength of Christ, through the power of our Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. I understand that thing. 1 Corinthians 3 and 11. We're coming right back. All right? We're going to come right back. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11. So we got to make sure, brothers and sisters, during these times, we got to increase in our studies. fasting, praying, but put your hand to the plow, man. It's time to increase in the work of the Lord. Okay, that says that's the only way we're going to overcome him, by the blood of the Lamb. Read what you got.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3 and verse 11.
Come on.
For other foundation can no man lay.
It says we can't lay any other foundation. Come on.
Then that is laid, which is Jesus Christ.
Which is what?
Jesus Christ.
Which is Jesus Christ.
The book of Luke, chapter 14 and verse 26.
Start at verse 28.
Verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost?
Right, so it says if you're going to build a tower, all right, going into a house, a building, or whatever it may be, it says you got to sit down and count the cost first. You got to have a blueprint, all right, you got to have a plan in place. Now, what do? We got to do? We got to take a step back and relate this to our walk in this truth, brothers and sisters. You got to think about it. If you're around people just because y'all have things in common, you like the same foods, you have some of the same interests, but the thing that brought y'all together is not the scriptures, guess what? That's not a good plan. And eventually that plan is going to fall apart right in front of you. It could be your family members, okay? A lot of y'all came together for the wrong reasons, talking about different spouses and things of that nature. All right, but once you come into these scriptures, once you come into this truth, things got to change, man. Okay, you have to take a step back and examine yourselves. Read the verse again, please.
For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it?
Whether he have sufficient to finish it. You know, for you married couples out there, if you don't know the scriptures on marriage, I'm going to let you know something. You don't have enough that's sufficient to finish in this walk. Okay? I'm going to let you know that if you battle alcoholism and you don't have the scriptures on how to get over your addiction, you're not going to have what's sufficient to finish in this walk. Right? That makes sense, right? So that means what? We got to make sure that we are equipping ourselves with the proper tools in order to overcome in that day. All right? Because it said the only way we was able to defeat Satan is by the blood of the Lamb. Meaning what? Through these scriptures, through God's law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Less happily, after he have laid the foundation.
After you have done what?
Laid the foundation.
Come on.
And is not able to finish it. All that behold it begin to mock him.
That means what? His foundation wasn't built on Christ. Her foundation wasn't built on Christ. It was built on friendship. It was built on lust, covetousness, desires of the flesh. Read that verse again.
Less happily after he have laid the foundation, and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him.
Give me Sirach 6 and 4 real quick. All right, that's not what you want for yourself. We want to make sure that we have what's sufficient to overcome and make it in the end. All right, because, hey, today's topic is Satan is real. He is, and he on his job consistently. Meaning what? If you're not on your job consistently, that means eventually he's going to take over. And he's going to win. All right, read that for me.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 4.
Come on.
A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it.
You see that? It says a wicked soul shall destroy him who hath it. Give me, I'm sorry, y'all. This how I teach. Y'all know this how I teach. Give me 1 Samuel 10 and 6. Hold that. So so let me ask y'all, did anybody come into this truth righteous? All right, so the answer is no. Hey, for those who are watching at the house, did any of y'all come into this truth righteous? Let me hear y'all out there that's watching.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
No, sir.
I ain't hear everybody, so some of y'all think you're righteous out there.
No, sir.
All right. We're hearing more. So, knowing that, brothers and sisters, that means what? Something has to take place. There has to be a change. The only thing that can change you is the laws of God. That's it. That's it. Actually, drop that. Give me the one in Psalms 19. I want this one. This one's better. Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. All right, let's read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
Come on.
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
Right, so the law of the Lord is perfect. That's your medicine, your antidote, the prescription the laws of God. That's what's going to change you from that wicked soul into a righteous brother or a righteous sister. Read that again.
The law of the Lord is perfect,
Go ahead.
converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
And that's what you should want. You should want something that's sure.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 19.
Come on.
Nevertheless, the foundation of God
Hold on. Read it again.
Nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure.
You see that thing right there? Now, hold that. Go right back to where you was at in Psalms 19 and 7. The scriptures is telling us exactly what to do. It's just, it's crazy because we always find ourselves in that situation again. He's like, damn, I've been doing good. I've been building myself up. But now I find myself in a rocky situation. My foundation isn't solid again. So what is it? What's going on? And that's what we're going to dive into today. Okay, Psalms 19.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
Come on.
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure.
Is what?
Is sure.
It says the testimony of the Lord is sure. Go ahead.
Making wise the simple.
Right. We come into this thing simple and sinful. Wicked. Okay. But it says the laws of God, which is sure, has the power to change us. Okay. Go back to where you was at in Sirach 6 and 4.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 4.
Go ahead.
A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it.
So it says, if you have a wicked soul and you keep that wicked soul, you will be destroyed. Understand that, brothers and sisters. Read it again.
A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it. And shall make him to be laughed to scorn of his enemies.
Right, and make him to be laughed to scorn by his enemies. Now let's go back to where we were at to finish this point in Revelation 12 and verse 11. Revelation chapter 12, verse 11. We're going somewhere today. All right, just got to be patient. All right, watch this, y'all.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 11.
Come on.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death.
You see that? And they love not their lives unto death. Meaning what? The world or the life that we have in this present world, okay, it's not worth fighting for. But there's a lot of brothers and sisters who love this present world. And you're able to tell that by their works in this truth. That's the easiest indicator. Obviously, what? If you want to get out of a situation, normally you would do it. You would work very hard to do so, right? Y'all with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got to make sure. You would work very hard, meaning what? Hey, you coming into this thing all jacked up. And we should know that about ourselves, that we're all jacked up. We come into this thing sinful, broken, okay? We got to do what? Take heed to godly counsel, put forth our best effort, because all of us deserve death. All right? The Most High didn't have to allow us to come into these doors. All right? So how do we pay the Lord back? Through our works, to the point we get our spirit built up so strong that we're willing to what? Give up our lives for this truth. And that's got to be the reoccurring theme. As soon as you decide to serve Christ, you got to have that mindset that I'm willing to lose my life for this gospel. Okay? Read that verse again from 11 all the way through.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
Come on.
And by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death.
Read.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you.
Come on.
Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So we know deliverance is coming, but we also got to realize what? We got a lot of opposition to face. A lot of opposition to face. Give me 2 Ezra 11 real quick. 2 Ezra chapter 11, just to show you something in the scriptures. All right, give me 2 Ezra 11, and I want verse 1. Not gonna go into the whole thing, but I want to touch a quick point. Verse 1.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 1.
Come on.
Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle.
A what?
An eagle.
The eagle represents who, brothers?
Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can review all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
It's talking about Rome. Okay, 2nd Ezra 11 is talking about Rome. Write that down. Okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 11 verse 1. Read it again.
Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feather wings.
Right.
And
So we know that the eagle right here in 2nd Ezra 11 is a representation of Rome. The 12 feathers is going into the 12 Caesars. Okay, Bishop went over this a while ago. Okay, the 12 Caesars. Read.
and 3 heads.
And 3 heads. Drop that. Like I said, we're not going into this in depth. Give me verse 6. This is the point I want.
Verse 6.
Come on.
And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her.
Right. And he saw that all things under heaven were subject unto who? To Rome. Go ahead.
And no man spake against her.
Uh-huh.
No, not one creature upon earth.
Not one creature upon the earth. So what is this showing you? This is showing you what? That's why Esau conducts themselves the way they conduct themselves. Because they think that they are God on the earth. Y'all see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Job 9 and 24, this is a precept with that. Job chapter 9, verse 24. We're going with something. We're going somewhere with this. Don't forget what we read earlier in Sirach. We come in here wicked, but we shouldn't leave here wicked. Okay, there should be a change in this over time. But we got to show you, we have to reveal who that wicked is. Watch this.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
Come on.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Go ahead.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Right. Who are the judges? The rightful judges are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You Israelites, according to the scriptures. And what have they done? They've taken our history from us. All right. They now claim to be us. But God is letting us know prophetically through the scriptures that when this took place, God is letting you know that these ain't the people. This is temporary. These are the wicked ones on the earth. These are the messengers of Satan on the earth. Now, give me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I want verse 3. All right, 2 Thessalonians. Actually, give me verse 1.
The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Come on.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him.
And by our what?
Gathering together unto him.
Right, so we got to credit our gathering together to who? To Christ. So brothers and sisters, we got to be in the mindset of never forgetting why we come in these doors. Remember I said earlier, some people are drawn together because of various lusts or different interests and things of that nature. But the reason we're in this building is because of who? Because of Christ. You can't forget that, brothers. Never forget that. If you find your relationships built off of something else, there's an issue. There's a serious issue going on with you and whoever's involved. Read the verse again.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him.
Go ahead.
That ye be not soon shaken in mind.
It says, don't be soon shaken in mind. All right, don't get weary. Go ahead.
Or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
As that the day of Christ is at hand. All right, read on.
Let no man deceive you by any means.
It says, let no man deceive you by any means. Going what? We're going to have something called opposition or adversity. All right, think about it. Think about it. Paul had to send different letters to these different various churches, Thessalonians, the Philippians, so on and so on. You know that there were men crept in unawares trying to cause division, right? Y'all are aware of that. Y'all know that there may have been fake letters sent, right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all got to think about that. Y'all have to think about these things. Okay, read verse 2 again.
That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit.
It says neither by spirit.
Nor by word.
Uh-huh.
Nor by letter as from us.
Right, nor by letter as from us. That's what that's talking about. A letter posing to be Paul and the apostles. Okay, so brothers, we got to realize, what does that translate to today? Think about what happened to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X during their times. Y'all do know that there were spies and people that were posing to be Malcolm X's wife. Martin Luther King's wife, trying to say that she was cheating on him. They did the same thing to her about him. They took his voice, manipulated it, wrote letters. They did the same thing to the Black Panthers, writing letters to turn them against each other. So what are we reading? The devil is going to be at work in these times too, brothers and sisters. Y'all with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Read verse 2 again.
That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us.
Come on.
As that the day of Christ is at hand.
As the day of Christ is at hand. So as we get closer, the evils is going to increase. If the evils and the wickedness increase, that means what? Our righteousness must increase. Meaning what? We cannot stay the same wicked creatures that we have been. Okay? Read on.
Let no man deceive you by any
let
means.
no man deceive you by any means. All right? If you don't want to be deceived, what you got to do? What's the first thing I got to do, brothers? You got to study. You have to study the word so the Spirit can deal with you. Okay? Go ahead.
For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
Right, the return of the Lord. It says that day ain't going to come unless there come a falling away first. That happened 70 A.D. All right? That already came and went. Come on.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
And that's what we're seeing. We were able to go to what? 2 Ezra 11 and show you in history that man. And to show you what? We know that America eventually came out of Rome. Rome, they got their womb, like it says in Revelation 13 in 193 A.D., and they rose back to prominence in the 14th century. And out of them came which beast? The United States of America. So what's happening in these last days? That man of sin, he's being revealed. Okay, go ahead.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Right. He opposeth himself and exalteth himself above all that is called God or righteous. How do we know that? We're seeing what? We're seeing same-sex marriages take place here in America, United States. I'm kind of jumping the gun. I want to touch it this Thursday, but Governor DeSantis just passed a bill saying that healthcare providers can now deny healthcare based off of your religious denominations. And think about it. Who do you really, you think that's going to target the Christian church? No. Who do you think that's going to target? The people of God. They oppose, read the verse again, verse 4.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Come on.
Or that is worship. So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Right. Showeth himself that he is God. Meaning what? Who originally sat in the temples? The priests. All right. The Levites, which are Israelites. But now who sits in the temple? You have Amalek, which is Esau, Idumea. Now they sit in our land today. So God is showing us something. He's showing us who Satan is, who the devil is. All right. But now we gotta be like, you know what? In order to combat this demon, I got to make sure that I'm on 10 at all times. I got to make sure my spirit is right. If I'm a leader, I got to make sure I'm influencing the men under me correctly. Okay? These are the type of things we got to do. If I'm married, I got to make sure I'm guiding my wife and my children correctly. All right? Because now's the time to do so. Drop that for me. Give me 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4. Okay? 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 4.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 4.
Come on.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
So the scripture says, hey, if you in this fight, if you're in the battle, you're not going to entangle yourself with the affairs of this life. All of us, we understand that in order to eat and have a roof over our heads, we have to work, right? But it shouldn't come to the point where your job is your faith. It should not come to the point where your wife is your faith. All you simp brothers out there. Okay? Read the verse again.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier.
Hey, who called us for the gathering of ourselves together? Christ. We read that in Thessalonians 2 and 1. It says that Christ called us and selected us for a reason. We got to make sure that we are what? Living up to the expectation that he called us upon. Okay? Yes, that goes to work ethic. Yes, that goes to your application of God's commandments here or in secret. Okay? You always have to be your worst critic. All right? It shouldn't be a rebuke that you get from your superiors or someone that you know. It should always be you pushing yourself. Like, damn, I know I shouldn't be doing that. Man, I got to overcome this thing. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Give me 2nd Ezra 2. 2nd Ezra chapter 2, and give me verse 36.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 36.
Come on.
Flee the shadow of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly.
Right, so we got to make sure we flee the shadow of this world, because we understand right now that it's Satan running rampant in this world, okay? We understand right now that it's Esau, all right, who thinks they are God, all right, who has dominion over this world. So we got to make sure that if we in this battle, we got to come out of America. We got to come out of the systematic ways. We got to come out of the ways of the beast, all right, and make sure that we focused. All right, let's drop that real quick. So now we're about to get into Satan and how he moves. All right, give me 1 Peter chapter 5. All right, 1 Peter's the 5th chapter, and give me verse 6. Watch this, y'all.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time.
Come on.
Casting all your care upon him, for he cared for you.
Right, so that means what? You ever heard of something called, you got to sell out? That's what it's talking about. Not sell out on your people. Sell out to the Most High. Okay, let wisdom reign within you. All right, get addicted to the work. Get addicted to studying. That this is all you do. Okay, read verse 7 again.
Casting all your care upon him, for he cared for you.
Watch this.
Be sober. Be vigilant.
So it says be sober. That's going into doctrine. Okay, you're not sober in doctrine if you're not studying. Just going to let you know that right there. You're not sober in doctrine if you're not studying. All right, that's also going into, obviously, not being an abuser of alcohol or drugs. Porn as well. I'll tell you that as well. That will mess up your mind as well. Okay, read that verse again.
Be sober. Be vigilant.
It says be vigilant. When you read the book of Matthew 26, it says watch and pray. We all have to know what's going on in these last days. All right, because we have to study ourselves. We got to study to show ourselves approved unto man or God. Unto God. So he says we got to watch and pray. Okay, go ahead.
Because your adversary, the devil.
Because our adversary, the devil, go ahead.
As a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour.
Right, that's what he's looking for. He is looking for that brother or that sister that's going to be alone. And be honest with yourself. All of us has been in that situation where we see it coming. We understand like, damn, I know Satan after me right now. I feel it. I feel a strong temptation right here and now. And I know if something doesn't get changed, I'm going to fall by this attack. You got to be real with yourself. You know you've been there before. Okay, we've all been there before. Read the verse again.
Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour.
Come on.
Whom resist steadfast in the faith.
The key is never give up, never give in. Never give up, never give in. It says, whom resist, it says we got to continue to resist steadfastly over and over and over and over again. Because the fight is never going to stop. This is the condition of the battle. Because of the sin of Adam, all right, that's why we have to go through what we got to go through. Go ahead. But at the end of the day, it's for the Most High's glory. Okay, don't forget that. It's all for the glory of the Father. Go ahead.
Who resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren.
You see that? It says, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren. You're not the only one. And why do you think he said in 2 Thessalonians 2:1, gather together? Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. We all have to work together. 1 Corinthians 12, Romans 12. Okay? We have to work together. Why? Because we're all going through the same exact thing, brothers and sisters. So why be at each other's necks? Why try to devour each other? That's not the spirit of Christ. Okay? We're supposed to esteem one another and most importantly, pray for one another. Be there for one another. By you taking the time to talk to that brother or that sister, hey, you could have just helped them overcome the tempter. You understand that, right? By you taking that time, hey, let's go grab something to eat. Hey, let's go over some scriptures. Let's do this. You understand? Because we should be in the same mind with one another. And that gives one another the strength to fight against Satan. Read that verse again.
Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same affliction are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world.
That are in the world. Drop that. Give me, let me stay on topic. Let me stay on track. Give me the book of Zechariah, the 3rd chapter. All right, so now, just so you can see it and understand what's going on. All right, when you're living your life, you feel like you're walking in wisdom. You're starting to overcome battles, different temptations. This is what's going on right here. Give me Zechariah chapter 3, verse 1.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 3 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
And he showed me Joshua the high priest.
All right, so this is going into Joshua the high priest. Go ahead.
Standing before the angel of the Lord. And Satan standing at his right hand to resist him.
You see that? And Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. Brothers and sisters, we're going to let you know today. I'm going to let you know. That's what this is all about. God is doing that to prove us, to see whether we're going to keep his commandments or no. Satan is always in the midst. Whether you don't feel the temptation or not, he's there waiting for you to get relaxed. All right, give me 1 Chronicles 21 and 1. All right, just showing you some examples to let you know that Satan is real. He is really there. And this is a spiritual fight. Okay? 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 1.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 21 and verse 1.
Watch this.
And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
You see that thing right there? We became a mighty nation through King David. King David is responsible for subduing all nations that came against us. All right, through the Spirit of the Lord. Read that verse again.
And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
And provoked him to number Israel. Jump down to verse 3.
And Joab answered, the Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But my Lord the king, are they not all my Lord's servants?
Come on.
Why then doth my Lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause of trespass to Israel?
You see that? Meaning what? When David did that, that was a sin. You understand? Numbering Israel, that was a sin. But who tempted him? It was Satan right there in the midst. Whenever we're striving for greatness, whenever we're getting on the right track, you already have to know in your mind, you know what? I see myself, I'm growing in the scriptures. I see my marriage getting better. You know, I see the behavior of my children changing. I'm feeling more confident. You know, things are going good. You have to know that Satan is coming. And most importantly, you got to know that Satan saw all of that. He saw all of that, and he's waiting for you to do what? Get comfortable. Get comfortable. Okay? He's waiting for you to get comfortable. So you can give me Sirach 10 and 12. Give me Sirach chapter 10, verse 12. He's waiting for you to get comfortable. I don't know why it's like this when it comes to blacks and Hispanics. For the most part, we are very prideful people. That's just how we are. And we need these scriptures to meditate on day and night to overcome that prideful spirit. But what happens is, over time, when you start to develop and you start to get strengthened in this walk, you become prideful. And we have to show you in the scriptures what pride really is. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 12.
Go ahead.
The beginning of pride is when one departed from God.
You see that? Why? Because you haven't been tempted in a few months. You feel that, you know what? Damn, this brother going through that? That's a damn shame, man. I don't ever go through nothing like that. You know, because you haven't been touched, you haven't been tried for a few months, you start to feel, you know what? This is really me. You convinced yourself that it's you doing this and not the Spirit of the Lord. But letting you know, if you ever feel that spirit, now you're looking down on your brothers and sisters as if you're any better, guess what? That's called pride. And the Spirit of the Lord not dealing with you. And it's going to be a matter of time before you end up just like your brother or sister. Y'all understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got to stay level-headed. Okay, read the verse again.
The beginning of pride is when one departed from God. And his heart is turned away from his maker.
Right, it says, and his heart is turned away from his maker. Drop that. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 1. All right, to continue to build this case and show you in the scriptures that Satan is there at all times. Job chapter 1, and give me verse 6.
The book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
Right, and we read an occurrence in Zechariah, the same situation. The sons of God are the angels, okay? The sons of God are the angels. We read that in Zechariah 3 and 1 as well. Read the verse again.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
Come on.
And Satan came also among them.
Right, and Satan came also amongst them. Read verse 7.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Verse 8.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
Come on.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Though Job fear God for naught, hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
Right. So Satan asked the question to the father. Said, "Hey, is he really serving you? Does he really fear you? Because last time I checked, everything in his life is going good. All right. He has great possessions. He has land. He has cattle. He has everything he wants. He has great riches. So how do you know if he really fears you?" So we got to think about the same thing with us. We got to think about the same thing with us. We got to understand, like it says in, I think it's Psalm 66, he loadeth us with benefits. You know what I'm talking about. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Psalms, chapter 68 and verse 19. Blessed be the Lord, who daily loadeth us with benefits.
Right, who daily loadeth us with benefits. Everything that we need to survive. All right, because God said it when we read Matthew, the 6th chapter, he says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added, right? So right here in Job chapter 1, verse 10, Satan says, has not thou made an hedge about him? Meaning what? A covering. Nothing happens to Job. He hasn't been touched. Now go back, read verse 11. Watch this.
But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
So Satan says, if you allow me to tempt him, he's going to curse you. All right, and he's going to deny you. And all of that fear that you say he has for you, it's not going to be there. Read on.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
Now, here's the point I want us to get from that. Understand that when we are tempted, that's an honor. Okay? Why is that an honor? The Lord saw fit, because Satan can't do anything that the Lord does not allow. Hope you understand that thing. Satan can't do nothing that the Lord does not allow. So when we are tempted, that means what? Most High saw fit for you to go through that battle or that temptation at that very time. Now we gotta right now when we in the spirit, we going through the scripture like, damn, yeah, that's the motivation right there. But what do we got to do? We got to keep this spark. We got to keep this focus. We got to keep this motivation. The only way to do that, by constant studying, fasting, being in the midst of the brothers and the sisters. That's what we got to increase. Because right here, the Most High said, nah, Job, that's my servant. I'm confident that even if I remove that hedge and you touch him, he will still serve me. So we got to think, when we do fall or come up short, we are letting the Father down. Okay? And that's the mindset that we got to have. So understand, when we do get tempted, when we do get challenged, that's an honor. He's saying, hey, I know you are equipped to fight this. You are equipped to fight this. Now, here's the down part, or the bad version of it, is when it's not your season of trials and temptations, if you're not studying, you understand, if you're lax, if you're prideful, you're just doing your own thing, and then your temptation comes and you fall flat on your face. Now that's the issue right there. And that's what happens because what? Because pride kicks in, okay? We must overcome pride in order to fight against Satan. Keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. From there, give me the book of Luke chapter 22, verse 31. Luke chapter 22, verse 31. Just to show you This is the exact conversation that takes place every time your temptation is coming from Satan. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 31.
Come on.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you.
Stop. Read that one more time.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you.
So who is Simon? This is Simon Peter, one of the 12. Christ told him that Satan desires to have you. We just read an account similar in the book of Job. Obviously, Christ being the Son of God is letting Simon Peter know that, guess what? You're about to be tried. Okay? You're about to be tried. Read on.
That he may sift you as wheat.
Uh-huh.
But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not.
That thy what?
Faith fail not.
That thy faith fail not. Come on.
And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
Right. When he's built up in the spirit, in these scriptures, in the truth, he said he's going to be able to strengthen his brethren. But just to show you, it's the same thing all throughout the scriptures. Satan has to get clearance to try us. Give me Sirach 11 and 14. I'm going to show you just that. All right, so brothers and sisters, when you are tempted, don't have the woe is me spirit. You got to have the I can do this spirit. Like I say in Romans 8, we're more than conquerors, okay? Nothing should separate us from the love of Christ. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Sirach, 11 and 14. Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord.
It says what?
Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord.
You know what I want to focus on right there is adversity. All right, I want to focus on that adversity right there. It says all of that comes from the Lord. Okay, all of that comes from the Lord. Now, give me the one in James so y'all not confused. I think it's 1 and 13. Okay, God allows it, but the evil comes from Satan. Understand that. God ain't going to tempt us. That's what Satan's job is. But if it's not going to be allowed, it's not going to be allowed. But if he does allow it, so be it. Read that.
The book of James, chapter 1 and verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God.
Right, because some people would say, well, that means that God's, nuh-uh. Satan is the tempter. Go ahead.
For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man.
Neither tempteth he any man. From there, let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians. All right, 2 Corinthians 12. All right, we went a little bit different. Not going to lie to you. I went off script, so I'm going to take out some of this class so it's not too long. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and I want you to start at verse 1, officer.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 1.
Watch this.
It is not expedient for me, doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord.
Right. So Paul's saying it's not expedient for me to glory. All right, there's no benefit in that. That's what, that prideful spirit. Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool.
Right, he's not going to be a fool. He's not going to get prideful because he knows as soon as he glories, here comes the tempter. Okay, read.
For I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be.
Go ahead.
Or that he heareth of me, and lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations.
Right, exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, meaning what? His wisdom and knowledge, it was incomparable to anybody. Remember, he studied with Gamaliel, but most importantly, he was taught by who? He was taught by Christ. So that could be very, very easy for you to get prideful. All right, but he's showing you, he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that because I know the second I get prideful, here comes Satan. All right, give me verse 7.
Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh.
Come on.
The messenger of Satan to buffet me.
To keep him under control, to let him know it's like you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as brilliant as you think you are. All right, go ahead.
Lest I should be exalted above measure.
Hey, who in this room? Hey, which one of us could say that we had the knowledge of Paul? You understand? Let alone King Solomon, let alone Christ. None of us. All right, so meaning what? Where does the pride come from? Satan. The pride comes from Satan, and we shouldn't be so simple to let Satan get the best of us. Okay? Let's be in the spirit. Let's be mindful. Give me Ecclesiastes 7 real quick in verse 14. Watch this, y'all. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and 14.
The book Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 14. In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider.
It says what?
In the day of adversity consider.
It says in the day of adversity consider. All right, we got to watch and pray. You should already been looking for that day of adversity. I'm not saying you had to be somber and down and out, but obviously, hey, you understand it's only a matter of time before I get challenged again or tested again. All right, it says in the day of adversity, we got to consider. Okay, go ahead.
God also has set the one over against the other.
Right, he set the one over against the other. We're going to have good times and we're going to have bad times. When you read in the same book, in the 3rd chapter, it's a time and a place for everything, right? It's a time for joy. It's a time for laughter. It's a time to kill. It's a time to be born. It's a time and place for everything. All right, so only the prideful and the simple would overlook the hard times, okay? Only the prideful and the simple would only look to have joy and good times all the time. It's not going to be like that. That's not realistic. All right, so we got to be mindful, brothers and sisters. Go back to 2 Corinthians 12 and 7 real quick.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12 and verse 7.
Watch this.
Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
Lest I should be exalted above measure. Give me Proverbs 30 and verse 8. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. All right, these are the prayers that we should have. All right, we want to make sure that we in the spirit. We don't want to be too prideful. All right, and we don't want to be poor. All right, because then it's hard to eat. Then it's hard to make it to the Sabbath. We want to make sure that we want to be in the spirit so we could please the Father, the one who selected us. Read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 30 and verse 8.
Go ahead.
Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches.
Go ahead.
Feed me with food convenient for me. Lest I be full and deny thee.
Lest I be full and deny thee. That's not what we want. That's not what we want from there. Give me the book of 1 Corinthians 7.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Read.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Right, so this is going into marriage, obviously. It says, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. Or this is going into having relations with your spouse, sexual relations with your spouse. Go ahead.
And likewise, also the wife unto the husband.
Watch this.
The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband.
But so it's saying the husband has power over the wife's body. Go ahead.
And likewise also, the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife.
But the wife. So the wife has the power over the man's body. Not saying that she dictates what goes on in the house. No, it's just saying when it comes time to take part in relations or sex, it means what? You cannot deny each other because both of you have needs and desires. Now watch this, verse 5.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
Right, it says that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Yes. Now do me a favor. I want to get the definition. I know. Did I send you the definition and the synonyms, officer? Yes, sir. All right, then give me the definition of incontinency. I want to show y'all something real quick. All right, because mind you, a marriage is established by who, brothers? The Most High. The Most High ordains marriage. Okay, I ain't talking about you backdoor marriages. We're not talking about that. All right, talking about righteous marriages. Okay, so incontinence.
The definition of incontinence. Failure to restrain sexual appetite.
Right, it says failure to restrain sexual appetite. So when we read in the verse, it says that Satan tempt you not from your incontinency. I want y'all to think about something. Corinthians. Think about the Corinthians. What are some of the things that the Corinthians battled? They battled things like fornication. Why is that? Say it on the microphone. So you said they battled fornication.
Yes, sir, they battled fornication.
All right. Why is that?
Yes, sir. Shalom, Cap. So the reason why they was battling fornication because they was Hellenized.
There you go. Go ahead, keep expounding.
And they was in the Greek fashions. One of the things that they would do a lot was have orgies and just sleep around.
There you go. There you go. The Hellenistic culture. Because think about it. Why normally a boy or a younger man not going to sleep with his father's wife? But that's the type of culture that they were used to at that time. Okay, so now we saw it historically. Pull up the map for me real quick, little size. We'll go through this briefly. With Corinth, pull up that map for me. All right, so you see the Corinthians is what? In Greece. Okay, you see Athens right there, up to the right. You see this is in Greece. Okay, so give me the wiki real quick. I think you had them in order. The way we went over them earlier, just give me the next one. Makes it easier. Hellenism. All right, just like the officer just said. Read this for us.
Hellenism, in a religious context, refers to the modern pluralistic religion practiced in Greece and around the world by several communities derived from the beliefs, mythology, and rituals from antiquity through and up to today. Mm-hmm. It is a system of thought and spirituality with a shared culture and values, and common ritualistic,
linguistic,
and literal tradition. More broadly, Hellenism centers itself on the worship of Hellenic deities, namely the 12 Olympians.
Give me the next one. So it's showing you that this Hellenism, they had a certain worship system. They had their different gods and, the Greek gods that are spoken of in Acts, the 17th chapter, Jupiter, Pluto, all of that stuff, Mars Hill, all of that. That's what it's talking about. They're different deities. What's next? Come on, IT. Help me out. Pull up the next one. Okay, ancient Greek religion. Read that.
Religious practices in ancient Greece encompass a collection of beliefs, rituals, and mythology in the form of both popular public religion and cult practices. The application of the modern concept of religion to ancient cultures has been questioned as anachronistic. The ancient Greeks did not have a word for religion in the modern sense. Likewise, no Greek writer known to use classifies either the gods of the cultural practices into separate religions. Instead, for example, Herodotus speaks of the Hellenists as having common shrines of the gods and sacrifices, and the same kinds of customs.
And the same types of customs. Now, oh yeah, keep reading.
Most ancient Greeks recognized the 12 major Olympian gods as goddesses: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Ares, Aphrodite, Apollo, Artemis, Hephaestus, Hermes, and either Hestia or Dionysus.
Dionysus. Do me a favor, IT, click on Dionysus. All right, read that.
In ancient Greek religion and myth, Dionysus, ancient Greek, is a god of winemaking, orchards and fruit, vegetation, fertility.
Fertility. It says fertility. So what do y'all think that's going into? Fornication, sex, orgies. All right, go back to it. We're not done. Go ahead.
Festivity, insanity, ritual madness.
Ritual madness. Go ahead.
Religious ecstasy.
Religious what?
Ecstasy.
Religious ecstasy. All right, that's going into, give me the definition of ecstasy real quick. Religious ecstasy. Okay, as he pulls that up. So I want y'all to be mindful. I'm going to read it again in 1 Corinthians 7:5. It says, defraud ye not one the other. Think about it. So you had Corinthians who were Hellenized that were engaging in this religious ecstasy and fertility and serving of these other gods, having orgies, fornicating, and now they're married. Okay? Think about that. You got it? You got the definition? Pull that up for me.
This is Merriam-Webster. The definition of ecstasy: a state of overwhelming emotion.
Come on.
Especially a rapturous delight.
Trance. Scroll down.
Especially a mystic or prophetic trance. A state of being beyond reason and self-control.
Right. A state of being beyond reason and self-control. Now give me the definition again of incontinence. I'm going over this for a reason. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm spending time right here for a reason. Go back to incontinence, and then pull up the synonyms as well. But I want the definition first. Scroll down. B.
The definition of incontinence: failure to restrain sexual appetite.
Right. Failure to restrain sexual appetite. All right. That's going into that religious ecstasy. So there was one more I think I wanted you to pull up about Dionysus or something like that. Just keep them in order. They're all there. So pull it back up, and I'll tell you which one. Dionysian. Yeah. Read that.
Dionysian, Greek mythology, relating to the god Dionysus, relating to the sensual, spontaneous, and emotional aspects of human nature.
Right. So these are the type of gods that they used to serve. All right. And they used to have what? Worship. And what do you think that worship encompassed? Orgies, sexual relations. Now go back to the scriptures, 1 Corinthians 7:5. Watch this.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 5.
Come on.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer.
Read.
And come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
Right. It says, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. All right. Meaning what? All of them, they had sexual desires. That's what he's saying right there. But you know what happens a lot in marriage? Some of us allow Satan to tempt us when we know what we came out of. I'm going to let y'all know, United States of America is an extension of ancient Greece. It's an extension of ancient Rome. Every day, if you turn on the TV, you're going to see butt cheeks. You're going to see cleavage. And sometimes you just might see naked people on TV. That's what hip-hop is today. That's what black culture is today. Okay? So understand, the same way our forefathers came out of Hellenism, we coming out the same exact thing, dealing in America. So obviously what? If you're defrauding your spouse, do benevolence, who's in your marriage? Satan is in your marriage. And you allowed it to happen. We got a quick video, right? You got a video after this? Yeah. Play to the timestamp, though. I think it's like 1:21 or something like that. Play that.
Being in a relationship where it doesn't feel like there's enough sex sounds like a trivial and somewhat comedic luxury problem, as though someone were complaining there wasn't enough tennis or yoga between a couple. But an absence of sex isn't trivial in the least. It's a humblingly serious problem, and might even be what dooms the relationship itself. One statistic stands out. In an average year in the OECD countries, 70% of those who initiated divorce cited a lack of sex as the first or second reason for parting. If there's one generalization we can make about couples, it's that a lack of sex, by which we mean something like less than 4 times a month, is an alarm bell we should listen to. Why is sex such a key part of keeping two people close? Because in sex, two people accept each other in the most profound of ways. The apparently dirty and shameful sides of us, the wayward fantasies and the unusual longings, are legitimated through sex. Someone else witnesses and accepts us as bodily and psychological beings. Sex symbolizes an end to loneliness and a reaffirmation of trust. Not daring or wanting to have sex with a partner is tantamount to admitting that one can't be oneself in their presence. A lack of sex is...
Now, this is something that's very, very key. And obviously, what? The Most High, he don't condone divorce. All right? So these are the things that we got to follow. I wanted to go in depth, but we're going to be here, like that's another class in itself. So I'm going to take away those precepts. We're not going to go over those precepts right now. All right? Give me... We're going to switch gears a little bit. But read that verse again before we close out. Watch this.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 5. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
Okay, I got to touch this. Give me Sirach 25. I'm going to let you, I do got to touch a little bit about this thing right here. Okay? So brothers and sisters, obviously a husband has a role, and a sister has a role to play in the marriage, right? Now, what are some things that would make a spouse not want to lay with their spouse? Think about it. Married men. Who's married in here? What are some things? Let me hear from you. What are some things that would make a man not want to lay with his wife?
Shalom, Cap.
Shalom.
Always talking, like
Oh, man.
attitude, things like that. For real.
Okay, for real, though. Okay. Okay, what else? What else? This light skin back there. You married.
Yes, sir, Cap. I was about to say the same things off of Samson. The words, the speech, just the listening, obedience to to the scriptures and different things of that nature.
Okay, he's playing it safe. He's playing it very, very. He's a newlywed. Okay, he's playing it very, very safe. He doesn't want to say anything wrong to upset his spouse. I understand, light skin. I'm gonna just say, yeah. When a sister can't shut her mouth, I'm gonna say it straight, cause I ain't scared. I'm just playing. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. But I'm gonna tell you straight. We don't want to hear all of that. Okay? We don't like haughtiness. We don't like that. That's a turnoff. When I'm trying to make a decision in the house, I don't want to hear all of that. That is a turn off. An outspoken woman, no. We don't like that thing right there. That's a huge turn off. I'm going to show you that in the scriptures. Sirach 25 and give me verse 20. Watch this, y'all.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 20.
Go ahead.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
You see that? A wife full of words to a quiet man. That is a recipe for disaster. You understand? Give me Sirach 26 and 14, but I want you to come right back to this. All right, we're dealing with the sisters right now. That's fine. All right, watch this.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26 and verse 14.
Go ahead.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
That's attractive right there. That is an attraction right there. Read on.
And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
Right, a mind well instructed. Now, do me a favor. Go back to Sirach chapter 25 and give me verse 13.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 13.
Go ahead.
Give me any plague but the plague of the heart.
It says, give me any plague but the plague of the heart. Go ahead.
And any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman.
But the wickedness of what?
A woman.
The wickedness of a woman. I just want to show y'all something real quick. Two last precepts. No, it's not. It's not the last precepts. I want to show you some more. Give me Sirach 36 and 22. Hold Sirach 25. I want to show you something. All right, obviously what? Men desire women. That's how God made us, right? And, God allowed us to find that special someone. And we didn't decide to choose you because you were ugly, okay? That's not what we decided you for, because we thought you were fair. You look nice. You're beautiful in our eyes. But watch this. I want to show you something.
The book of Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 22.
Come on.
The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better.
Right. It says the beauty of a woman. This is not just talking about her face. It's not just talking about how she dressed. It's talking about her elegance, her gentleness. You understand? The way she moves as a righteous woman. That's a beautiful thing to a righteous man. A righteous man doesn't like a manly woman. He don't like that. That's a turnoff. Read it again.
The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better.
So, obviously, sisters, this is what you want to do. You want to figure out, what does my husband like? Let me make sure. Oh, I did it. Oh, that one class, God to be a righteous wife. Go watch that class. Go watch that, so you can learn the attributes and what you need to do. Now, it says a man love nothing more than the beauty of a woman. I want to show you something. That beauty can go out the window when you out the damn spirit. Watch this. Give me Sirach 25 and verse 17. Watch this.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
The wickedness of a woman changeth her face.
Read it again.
The wickedness of a woman changeth her face.
You may have been beautiful at one time, but you won't shut your mouth. You're disrespectful. You're unpleasant. And now your face is ugly to your spouse because you wicked. Read it again.
The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance.
And does what?
Darkeneth her countenance.
Demon woman. That's what the Bible's saying right there. Don't be a demon woman. Be a beautiful woman, according to the scriptures. Now let's deal with you brothers real quick. Let's deal with you brothers real quick. Give me Sirach. Nope, same chapter. Jump down to verse 22.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 22.
Go ahead.
A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger.
So this means what? There's two roles to play. The man, he got to be what? He got to be the leader of the house, like it's saying Timothy. All right? He got to provide for his house. All right? A woman should not be taking care of you or maintaining you or telling you how to live your life. That's not how it should be. Read it again.
A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impotence, and much reproach.
And much reproach. It says very much reproach. Hatred. Okay? These are things that's going to turn you off as a spouse when it comes to the bedroom. Okay? Play your part. Brothers, stand up and be that righteous man of God that your wife can be proud of. Sister, be that pillar of rest that when your husband comes home, that's all he want to do. He want to hug you, put the kids to sleep, and get busy. That's what he want to do. And that's all right, because that's what the scriptures say. But I'm letting you know, the Bible's letting you know, if you don't do these things, if you don't put these differences to the side, Satan is in your marriage, and eventually, Sirach chapter 27, verse 3.
The book of Sirach, chapter 27 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord,
his
house shall soon be overthrown.
His house shall what?
Soon be overthrown.
So we got to make sure that what? We are abiding by the commandments of the Lord. Otherwise, destruction's coming. That building that you set out to build is going to come crashing down, and Satan has defeated you. Okay? We got to make sure that we stay in these scriptures. That's our only defense against Satan. Drop that. Give me Acts chapter 9. I want to show you something. I got to show you what type of focus that we need to have, you know, in this walk. I got to show you what type of focus we need to have. Watch this. Acts chapter 9, verse 16.
The book of Acts, chapter 9 and verse 16.
Go ahead.
For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
And I'm jumping, you know, for the sake of time, but who's the him? This is talking about Paul. All right, read the verse again.
For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
Right, so Christ said that he would show Paul exactly what he would go through. All of his shipwrecks, all of the stoning when he got stoned unconscious, and all the way to the beheading issued by Nero. Okay? So he saw that when he had that vision, when Christ taught him here in Acts 9. Okay? Read this again from the top.
For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house.
All right, so stop. So Paul understanding that he would have to go through all of these things. A lot of people, if they saw their death, they may have not made it through. Paul saw his afflictions and he saw his death right then and there after he saw that vision. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to show you something. I'm going to connect the two. Give me the book of 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 13. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 13. So right now we're talking about what type of focus we have to have in order to combat Satan. All right, 2 Peter 1:13. Read that.
The book of 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13.
Come on.
Yea, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle, to stir you up by putting you in remembrance.
Right, the tabernacle, he's talking about his earthly flesh, his body. All right, so he says as long as he's in his body, verse 14.
Knowing that shortly I must put out this my tabernacle, even as our Lord Jesus Christ have showed me.
You see that? He says, shortly I'm going to die. Exactly how Christ has shown me. That's what Paul's saying right there. Read it again.
Knowing that shortly I must put out this my tabernacle, even as our Lord Jesus Christ have showed me.
Read.
Moreover, I will endeavor that ye may be able after my decease to have these things always in remembrance.
Now think about how boldly Paul is speaking right here. Because he understood that he owed his life to Christ, and Christ already showed him what he had to go through, but he stood the test of time. He finished his course all the way up until his beheading that he knew was going to take place. This is what when we read Romans 15 and 4, these are the stories that we got to be able to apply to our lives right here. Okay, we know our end. We know if we're doing this, it's a good possibility that might happen that's going to happen to us. All right, but we can't panic and flee. No, we got to stay focused. And ultimately, think about it like this. If you know that it's a possibility to lose your life for this truth, wouldn't that fire you up even more to overcome Satan, to overcome the tempter? All right, drop that. Give me Matthew chapter 4 for the sake of time. When you read Matthew the 4th chapter, Luke the 4th chapter, it goes into Satan tempting the Messiah. All right, and after all of his temptation, this is what Christ said. Matthew chapter 4, verse 10. Watch this.
The book of Matthew, chapter 4 and verse 10. Then said Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
And that's how we got to be, even unto death. You think Christ ain't know that he had to be crucified? Christ knew the same thing. Okay? Give me the quotes. We about to wrap it up. Got 3 quotes, and then get Proverbs 24 ready for me. 3 quick quotes. Watch this. Read that.
Failure is nothing but a lesson learned.
So it says, failure is nothing but a lesson learned. All right, give me Proverbs 24 and 16 first. Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 16.
Come on.
For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again.
And riseth up again. Why? Because he understood he may have failed that time, but that was just a stepping stone in his walk. Meaning what? He's not going to succumb to it, but he's going to allow that situation to build him up. All right, read.
But the wicked shall fall into mischief.
But the wicked shall fall into mischief. They're going to succumb to their wounds by Satan. Because remember, we read earlier what he said. He shoots fiery darts. They're going to succumb to their wounds. Give me the next quote real quick. Read that.
The most successful people see adversity not as a stumbling block, but as a stepping stone to greatness.
You see that? Most successful people. We should want to be successful. Successful is getting the kingdom of heaven. All right, so we should see adversity. Go back to the quote. Read it again. We shall see adversity not as a stumbling block, but as a stepping stone to greatness. When you fall, you learn about yourself. Okay? You learn what you're strong in and what you're weak at. Our mission while we're here is to strengthen our weaknesses. All right, next quote.
Your hardest times often lead to the greatest moments of your life. Keep going. Tough situations build strong people in the end.
And we need it in the end. We need it in the end so we can overcome Satan. All right, that's called character right there. If you always notice someone, every time something is hard in their life, they always bail, I would watch that brother or that sister. I'm letting you know straight up. Anytime some adversity comes, something's too hard for you, you just, nope. It's like, okay, all right. I know that if you with me and it's danger, you ain't going to be around. Okay? These are things we got to think about. It's all about character. Character. Give me the last one.
It is your reaction to adversity, not the adversity itself.
Y'all see that? It's your reaction to the adversity, not the adversity itself. Read.
That determines how your life story will develop.
Yep, how your life story. What are you going to be known for? All right? You may have had some mess-ups or screw-ups before time, but are you learning from the way you reacted to the adversity? Or are you staying the same person? Proverbs 24 and 10. Watch this.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small.
Right. So if you faint in the day of adversity when things get hard, your faith is small. Meaning what? You need to increase that faith. Okay? You need to strengthen your faith. Is there more on that?
No, sir.
All right, drop that. Give me 1 Peter 1 and 6. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6. All right, watch this.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though not for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations.
Right, so it says, hey, rejoice for a season because you know that what? Temptation is going to come. Satan is on his way. Go ahead.
That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold, that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ.
Just like we said earlier, whenever you get tried, whenever you get tested, that's an honor, okay? And we got to see it as such. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. All right, so make sure, hey, when we get tried, we got to rise to the occasion, all right? And when it's not our season of trials, what do we need to be doing? In the off season, we need to be preparing for the actual season. All right? Like you would do in sports, you would lift weights and condition. What do we got to do? We got to study, pray, apply. All right? Hebrews 12:1.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
Right. Run with patience the race that is set before us. Romans chapter 2, verse 7. Okay? Run with patience. And as we do that, we got to get stronger and stronger and stronger so we can overcome Satan by the blood of the Lamb. All right, we got to make sure that we built upon Christ. All right, read what you got.
The book of Romans chapter 2 and verse 7.
Come on.
To them who by patient continuance and well-doing seek for glory.
Hold on, you speed racer. Read it again.
To them who by patient continuance and well-doing.
Right, it says to them who by patient continuance and well-doing. That means what? Passing test after test after test. Read it again.
To them who by patient continuance and well-doing seek for glory and honor.
Seek for glory and honor. That's it on that?
No, sir.
Read.
And immortality, eternal life.
And immortality, eternal life. Luke chapter 9, verse 62. On the contrary, Luke chapter 9, verse 62. Watch this.
The book of Luke, chapter 9 and verse 62.
Go ahead.
And Jesus said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God.
You see that? If you're looking back at your past life, your past, the way you used to do things, it says anybody that's holding on to the past, anybody that's holding on to this world is not fit for the kingdom. There's some more on that?
No, sir.
Drop that. Give me Sirach 38. Sirach chapter 38, and I want verse 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 25.
Go ahead.
How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow?
It says what?
How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow?
This plow is talking about what? Always occupied in your job, the things of the world. It says, how can you get wisdom if you're always caught up in those things, always looking back? Go ahead.
And that glorieth in the gold, that driveth oxen, and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks.
Right, so there's no wisdom going to come out of that, meaning what? You got to change. If you're not growing, if you're the same person year 2, year 5, year 7, year 10, obviously there's no wisdom dwelling in you. Okay, from there, give me the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, verse 1.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 1. She preserved the firstborn father of the world that was created alone and brought him out of his fall.
Right, and brought him out of his fall. What is this talking about? Wisdom. Wisdom. It says the firstborn father, this is Adam, that was created alone and brought him out of his fall when he listened to his wife. Verse 10, watch this.
When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travails, and multiplied the fruit of his labors.
Right, who is this talking about? The forefather Jacob, when he fled from Esau. It says that what? Wisdom was dwelling with him. And wisdom guided him down the right path and showed him the kingdom of God. So guess what? If we want to be able to fight against Satan, we got to dwell with wisdom. Or wisdom has to dwell within us. From there, Proverbs chapter 8. And give me verse 1. Do a lot of jumping on this one. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 1.
The book of Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places.
Read verse 1 again.
Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice?
All right, give me verse 6.
Hear, for I will speak of excellent things.
This is what speaking? This is wisdom speaking right here. Verse 6 again.
Hear, for I will speak of excellent things.
Come on.
And the opening of my lips shall be right things.
Shall be right things. All right, wisdom has to dwell within us in order for us to go down the right path. All right, if you're not studying, if things are too important or more important than this truth, wisdom's not dwelling with you. Okay, and if we want to make it, if we want to overcome Satan, wisdom got to be dwelling with us. Read verse 6 again.
Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things.
Verse 10.
Receive my instruction and not silver.
It says, receive my instruction and not material things. That's silver and that gold is going into possession. Read it again.
Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold.
You see that? And knowledge rather than choice gold, because knowledge is going to be the thing to get you over that hump when your trial is there. Go ahead.
For wisdom is better than rubies.
It says wisdom is better than rubies. Come on.
And all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it.
Come on.
I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions.
Jump down to verse 17. Excuse me.
I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me.
And those that seek me early shall find me. Meaning what? In the off season, if you playing games, not studying, it's going to come a time where the Most High close those doors. And you're not going to find wisdom, and it'll be too late. Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver.
Come on.
I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment.
Right, so wisdom will lead us in the ways of righteousness. So that's what we need to cling on to. Give me Proverbs chapter 11 and give me verse 15.
The book of Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 15.
No, I want verse 5. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Verse 5. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way.
Right, it says the righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way. Go ahead.
But the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness.
Right, just like it said in Sirach 6 and 4 earlier. All right, it says the wicked man or the wicked sister, they are going to fall in their wickedness when their temptation comes. From there, give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 1. Last two scriptures.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 1. Wisdom reaching from one end to another mightily, and sweetly doth she order all things.
So that's what we got to do, brothers and sisters. We got to cling on and take hold of wisdom. It says when we do so, it's going to order all things. Jump up to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 28.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 28.
Come on.
For God loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom.
Y'all see that? He loves nothing better than those who dwell with wisdom. Read on.
For she is more beautiful than the sun.
Come on.
And above all the order of stars. Being compared with the light, she is found before it.
Watch this.
For after this cometh night, but vice shall not prevail against wisdom.
It says if you dwell with wisdom, your vice or your lust or Satan tempting you will not prevail against wisdom. All right, so we're going to end the class right there. I pray y'all got something from it. Today's topic was Satan is real, but God is too. All right, and with that, we say shalom.
Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation